Four Roses LEs. Four Roses releases a limited edition small batch, unless you go very far back when they had single barrels, every year. This one happens to be the 2025, and it just hit Washington. We are so behind. Anyway, I literally got this on a grocery store shelf. Got lucky, it was $2.35 plus taxes, which in Washington state is quite a few, but that still was significantly less than the secondary price that's out there. Each of these is a blend of a number of different years. It tends to be a fair number of bottles. In this case, there were 16,854 of the 2025. Now, the last one that a lot of people ranted and raved about was the 135th anniversary, the one for 2023. But let's see how this compares, and is it even worth chasing? Cork. Not the loudest cork, but it definitely had a good seal. So most of the modern Four Roses limited editions all come at barrel strength. They're non-chill filtered. This one in particular is at 54.5% alcohol or 109 proof. Now, if you go digging, you can find what makes up the blend. I really wish they would just put it on the bottle. That would make it a lot easier, but okay, sirrah. Let's go over what is in the current blend for the 2025 LE. There is 38% of a 13-year-old OBSV, 35% of a 13-year-old OESV, 17% of a 13-year-old OBSK, and 10% of a 9-year-old OESV. So mostly 13-year whiskey, with 10% being 19-year. I think it ends up averaging out to like 15 years, but that really doesn't matter. Average is not the game. The lowest age statement is 13 years. With that being said, let's get into 2 Minute Tuesday. Let's get into 2 Minute Tuesday on the Four Roses 2025 limited edition small batch. Color is looking pretty great. Kind of a nice auburny hue, just a touch more than your atypical bourbon, which you would expect at that age. Viscosity wise, hopefully you see that. There's lots of little legs showing up. It's hanging on the glass pretty nicely. You got a few runners, but for an average age of 13 years at 109 proof, you would expect some decent viscosity. Let's get into the nose. So the first thing I get is kind of atypical for Four Roses for me, which is a bit of a kind of florally profile. But right after that, there's a really nice little apricot kind of thing going on. Touch of like marshmallow fluff and a little bit of brown sugar, and then you get some subtle bits of oak, which that brown sugar is kind of oak sweetness, add a little bit of spice that's in there, kind of like your atypical baking spice, but I would say this leads a little bit more toward like some cinnamon and nutmeg. The biggest thing I will say about the nose is that it has this really nice gentle balance of different notes in there. It's not punching you in the face, but let's see how that transitions over to the palate. Cheers. Hello. Right away, that apricot note is coming forward, but there's also like a little bit of strawberry fruit leather. And I want to be very definitive in that either like dried strawberries or like when you turn it into a fruit leather, it has that kind of sweetness that's more concentrated, like it's been dried out and the sugars have been kind of condensed. That kind of marshmallow fluff thing still in there, but also there's a really nice layer of some of the spices that are in there from the barrel char. It definitely is a little bit kind of your generic baking spice forward. As you get toward like the mid palate and the finish, that spicy portion comes in a little bit more, but you also get this really nice brown sugary kind of wood influence that starts coming through, so that spice doesn't go crazy on you. There's always some kind of sweet, nice note with it. There is that kind of what I have always called the Four Roses floral quality. It's really light. It's probably like the third or fourth note down, but it brings this like interesting complexity to the more sweet, fruity notes that are present, and then that shift into the spice and the kind of wood sugars. So let's get into an overall score for our Four Roses 2025 limited edition small batch. I'm going to give this an 84. This is really good Four Roses, but I have to account for the price. I have often felt that pretty regularly the Four Roses LEs are just too expensive. They're not getting up there really crazy in the proof. They are the absolute pinnacle of what Four Roses is putting out. You're getting good age statements, you're getting complex flavor, you're getting very good blends. I can't say I've ever had a Four Roses LE, and granted, I have not had a million of them, but some stand out above the rest. And it's kind of interesting that it always seems to be the odd years. 2023 is probably the best one in a long time. If you can find the 135th anniversary, I think that is the pinnacle of what Four Roses profile should be in a blended product. This is pretty close, surprisingly. The only thing that this is missing is there is a like dusty or older whiskey note that is definitely present in the 135th that is not as prevalent here. However, there's more fruit notes here in the 2025 That very apricot forward with that little bit of like kind of strawberry fruit leather that I described is lovely on the sip. And I'm gonna keep enjoying this one because it is quite tasty for those of you who like fruit notes in your whiskey. But if you prefer that more spicy and savory portion, as you get to the mid palate and the finish, that comes in and it says hello. And for those of you who like that floral profile, maybe you get out of Weller 107 like I do, or especially out of Four Roses, that's there through the entire time. It's a little bit in the nose, it's very soft in the nose, and it comes in, again, soft throughout the entirety of the pour when you're dealing with the palate itself. So you get that kind of quintessential thing that Four Roses is, at least for me and my palate, and maybe it's yours too, along with some lovely fruit notes, a little bit of spice, a little bit of oak influence. It's very desserty. There's a touch of like marshmallow hanging out in there. It's kind of nice, makes this lovely, almost tart-like dessert. And it's hard to say no, but I'd go back to that price. It's $235 plus taxes. For me, I've seen them as high as like $300 and $400 back in the heyday. Nowadays, you tend to see them more around $300 on secondary or in some of the mom and pop shops. And at that price, I don't know. I would struggle to buy one unless I've never had a Four Roses LE, and I know it is one that is particularly good. And I'm really looking forward to having one in my selection. But if I've had one before, I don't know that I'm willing to pay that price. And even at the MSRP price, it still feels a little expensive. This feels like it should be maybe $200 after all the taxes, not close to like $300 as it is in my state. Maybe that's just me. I want to hear from you in the comments down below. Are you a massive Four Roses fan? Do you chase? Is this your chase bottle every year, the Four Roses LE? Let me know in the comments down below. Or maybe you can't stand any Four Roses product and you think I am crazy for picking this up. Also, let me know in the comments down below. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like, and if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. When we hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to give away a bottle of E.H. Taylor Single Barrel and an E.H. Taylor Small Batch, plus a few other things. Those 3 things, like, comment, subscribe, they're literally the best ways to tell old Papa YouTube, hey, I like what this person is doing, and someone else might too. It helps grow our channels, helps us do what we do, and helps prevent the burnout that is out there in a lot of YouTube. As always, my friends, thank you so much for watching. And stay awesome.